Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss a very common question that is frequently asked during the AWS interviews. And the question is, how do you configure a high availability application in AWS? Most of the time candidates struggle to answer this question properly. There could be a number of reasons for that. It might be lack of experience, it might be they are new to the cloud technology, or it could be a reason where candidate got a chance to work on the other important thing but not on the high availability. This is a crucial topic for anyone who is looking to work with the cloud technology. For application, high availability is essential. We need to maintain the application uptime and reliability. Even we also need to ensure that application remain operational even during the failure is very important. High availability refer to a system design that is designed in such a way that is durable and it operate continuously without failure for an extended period. How we can achieve this thing? In order to achieve this thing, we need to architect our application in such a way that can withstand various type of failures. Now failure could be like hardware failure, could be like a network problem, or it could be like where the complete data center is down. Without wasting much time, let's understand how we can tackle these kind of challenges, or rather I would say how we can answer these kind of questions when asked during the interview. There are key components for the high availability, and these are the key components like we need to deploy our application in such a way that it is across the multiple availability zone. We can use the elastic load balancer. We can implement a auto scaling. We can have the high availability database. We can take the regular backup and we have the retention policies configured. We can configure the disaster recovery planning. We can design our application in such a way that it is going to be a stateless application. We can utilize monitoring tool properly. We can optimize for low latency. Let's discuss each of these points in detail. So the first point is deploy across multiple availability zone. Now this is something where I need to distribute my application across multiple availability zone within a AWS region to ensure that if one zone goes down, I can still work with the other zone. It gives me guarantee that if one of the zone is down, I can still work with my application because my application is up and running in the other availability zone. So the first point, we need to deploy our application in multiple availability zone. For example, I am deploying a web server on my EC2. Now there are multiple EC2s which I am going to configure for this. While configuring my EC2, I need to configure it in multiple availability zone within the same region. This way I will get high availability. The second point in the list, that is a elastic load balancer. Very important. In simple term, elastic load balancer is going to distribute the traffic equally among the machines. But there is one more benefit of the elastic load balancer. Let's suppose there is one machine which is down. Now here elastic load balancer identify the unhealthy instance and it is not going to send traffic to that instance. By this way we will get the high availability. So in simple term, it automatically routes the traffic away from any unhealthy EC2 machines. The next point is implementing the auto scaling. In simple term, it's a process of scale in and scale out. When the traffic goes high, it is going to create more machines. When the traffic is less, it is going to delete the unused machine. So auto scaling adjusts the number of EC2 instance based on the demand. And this help maintaining the performance of the application by scaling out during the peak times and scaling in when demand decreases. The next one in the list is database. We can use the managed services from the AWS, like we can use the RDS with multi-AZ deployment. If we are going to configure our database like this, then it is going to provide automatic failure to a standby instance in another availability zone. So it is like if my primary instance get failed, my all the traffic in the database route to the healthy instance which is in the other availability zone. The next point is regular backup and the retention policy. This is very important. We need to take regular backup of our application. If something goes down and if we lose the data, we need a way to bring back the data. Now, here, regular backups are very important. For this, we can use one of the service in the AWS, that is the AWS backup service. We can implement the regular backup, and we can also ensure that the critical data can be recovered in case of loss or if the data is corrupted. The next one in the list is the disaster recovery planning. Now here we have the RTO and the RPO. RTO is recovery time objective and the RPO is the recovery point objective. We need to define RTO and the RPO as a part of our disaster recovery plan. Here we can choose between the active passive configuration based on the requirement. We can also design stateless application. Let's understand what the stateless application is. Stateless application means they do not rely on the storage data or they do not need to maintain the session. So it making it easier to scale and recover during failure. The next point in the list is utilize the monitoring tool. We can use the AWS CloudWatch for the real-time monitoring of our application performance and health metrics. We can configure metrics, we can configure SNS topics so that we will get notified if something goes down or if something breaches the threshold value. The last point on the list, that is the low latency. In order to achieve the low latency, we can use the tool like the AWS CloudFront, or we can use Route 53. In the Route 53, we have multiple policies which we can use, and specifically to maintain the low latency, we can use the latency routing policy. Now, these things ensure that users are directed to the nearest region. So, let's suppose if I'm trying to access an application which is in North Virginia, which is in Mumbai, and I am trying to access this application from Mumbai. Now I will connect to the Mumbai location. By this way, I have the low latency. I'm not going to connect to the North Virginia. If I'm going to connect to the North Virginia, what will happen? There is going to be a high latency. So these applications like AWS CloudFront, Route 53 are going to help me to achieve the low latencies. These are the points which you can tell during the interview in order to achieve the high availability for an application. I hope you understand these points clearly. If you still have doubt or if you need more information related to any of the point, do let me know in the comment section and I will explain it to you.